Hello everyone, let's talk about another domain where generative AI can help address lot of use cases. And I have chosen retail for this because it's a very wide domain. It includes end users, vendors, technical teams, stores, customer care, many things. There are a lot of moving pieces, and of course there is a potential opportunity for using generative AI in each of these spaces. Retail, guys, is a perfect example of how humans and technology come together to enable lot of things. So let's go ahead, let's check out a few use cases from the retail domain. So the first use case that I want to talk about is product recommendation. So if you think about it, there are hundreds of thousands of products available on Amazon. Now, when a customer comes to the application, they will hardly spend 10 to 15 minutes. And therefore, it is very important that he or she should be able to find the product easily. They should have a detailed description of the product. It should include bullets, specifications, reviews, Q&A, all of these things to help make you the choice quickly. And all of this is text information. So generative AI is very good at generating text, and we can therefore use it for all these detail generation. Plus, we can also ask it to make it SEO friendly. We can ask it to make it descriptive, short, however we want it, right? It can generate all those combinations for us. Another thing that we can do is targeted and localized marketing. So for example, let's say I am somebody who purchased a laptop. So I can be sent recommendations of monitor, keyboard, laptop stand, because that is something that I may want to purchase in the near future, right? You are sending me items that I need. You are sending me items that are specific to my location, right? And remember, all of this is something that goes behind the scene in a retail organization like Amazon, and it is happening today also. There are AI systems that are doing predictive recommendations, curated emails, search improvements, all of that thing. But generative AI, because of its superior training, because of the fact that it is very good with text, it can enhance all those outputs to the next level. It can get you better product description, it can get you better marketing, and that in turn translates to better conversion, better orders, better sales, all those things. Then next one, we can use generative AI for one of the most critical area, which is supply chain optimization. Supply chain, guys, is the backbone of retail, and a company needs to have a very strong supply chain to be successful. So if you think about it, let's say I'm running a store like Amazon or Walmart. So how do I make sure that I have a stock of the items that I need? I cannot keep everything in the store. There is not enough space, things will get wasted. And in fact, this is the biggest challenge in retail, making sure that you have the right products, making sure that you have the inventory, you are displaying it on the store, you are giving it discounts when needed. All of this is a real problem, and generative AI can help with all of this. Next, you can fine-tune the LLM with your company-specific sales, inventory, return, and any other reports that you need, right? And now your model is fine-tuned, and it will give you details based on your company's historical data, right? So you are optimizing all of these things, you are automating all of these things, and you are not automating it based on generic information. You have supplied your company information to the LLM, you have fine-tuned it on the basis of that, and so if you ask it any question now, you will get the answer based on your company details, not generic details. And therefore, you are not doing any guesswork in here. When you are using this information, you are making data-based decision, right? The LLM is looking at tons of historical data. It is giving you detailed insight, recommendation, all of those things. Lastly, you can do predictive maintenance of your equipment. So what it means is, let's say, for example, if you have an equipment in your factory that needs servicing every 1 year or 1.5 years, right? It can be monitored, and generative AI can trigger alarms for you that, okay, this system is coming up for maintenance. So let's go ahead and service it so that they do not fail. You get service them proactively on the time. There is no downtime, and your operations keep running. So again, these are some of the use cases that you can use generative AI to build on, right? And these will enhance the conventional AI systems. You can get even better outcomes. And that's why I said retail is one area that has tremendous potential of generative AI usage. Third use case that I wanted to talk about is customer support. So again, something that is very manual effort intensive, and there is lot of pain points, right? If you have purchased orders in the past, you would have realized that there's a lot of time that you need to go to customer support. You do not get the right kind of response. It is delayed, those sort of things. So we already have some solutions in the place, but again, they can be further enhanced using generative AI. We can hook up the generative AI to our company related documents, company manuals, FAQs, ordering system, those sort of things. So customer comes in, types in a query, it can get textual response based on these documents only. We are not giving it any generic information. We are giving it very specific information that is related to the company, that is related to the company's return policy, for example, and that is related to the customer's order, right? So we can provide all those details in a textual answer to the user. We can also combine it in an email and we can send it out to the user, right? And good part is that we can do it for multiple languages. So there's a multilingual support that is also available, right? And you can get automated updates, right? So for example, as soon as my order changes from in process to shipped, I can trigger an notification to the customer and email to the customer, right? Now again, all of this is happening in some shape or form today also, right? But there are new use cases, there are opportunities to enhance it further, and that's where generative AI would come in very helpful, right? You can create generative AI based chatbot, you can create generative AI based email notifications, and all of that will save you manual effort. Plus it would be running 24/7. So anytime the customer pings it, it can get the answer. So all of this would translate into higher customer satisfaction, and that is the intended outcome of customer support. And finally, the last scenario that I wanted to talk about is sentiment analysis. So sentiment analysis means analyzing a text to see whether it is positive, negative, or neutral. What is the outlook of that sentence? And again, it's a use case that has been handled by conventional AI system, but it's a text-based scenario. So generative AI can handle it much better. You can get improved results, right? You can feed it the list of product reviews. You can hook it up to the company's Facebook page and it can read what users are commenting there, those sort of things, right? It can go to Instagram, see what users are talking about the product in there, right? And it can get all those responses. It can even go to the customer's page on Facebook and Instagram and read their product detail in there to see how their product is working compared to your product, right? And once it has all those information, it goes into the model, right? It can generate whether the customer's feedback is positive, negative, and basis of those inputs, you can make changes to the product, right? You can see that, okay, maybe customers are not able to find so and so product. Let me improve the search of those products, right? Maybe customers are not getting good recommendations. Let me tweak on the recommendation algorithm. Maybe customers are not getting good fast information about the product delivery, so let me make changes to my email notification mechanism. And all of this would run behind the scene and give you inputs that you can use to generate your make your product even better, right? So if I go to ChatGPT, just to show you one example and the potential of this, right? And what I did was, I went to Amazon and I got the review of a particular keyboard in here, and it's a very long review, right? The customer has written lots and lots of things about this keyboard. Now it's a very long text, right? I do not want to read all of it, and we may be talking about 10,000 different reviews for the product, right? So we cannot read all of these reviews. So I would just feed ChatGPT and say that, okay, give me a sentiment analysis. Tell me what the customer is telling with a short summary with key details, right? And then when I go ahead and run it, it would start generating that analysis. Now, remember, I am doing it through the ChatGPT interface, right? So I am just pasting one review in here. Maybe if I paste too many reviews, it would be too much text and it would not be able to take it. But what we can do is using the same company's OpenAI's API, right? OpenAI, as I mentioned, is the company that's behind ChatGPT. So it has a web interface like this, plus it also offers API services. And we will see that when we go to the practical session in the next session. And we can use those APIs, we can hook it up to the Amazon review system, and it can read all those reviews on its own. You do not have to copy paste and anything. And you can tell it to give this kind of a input on all those 10,000, 50,000, whatever reviews are there, right? And now you are getting an perspective of how your product is, right? If you read this review, right, it says that the customer is appreciating, it tells you about positive thing, and then it tells you about that there are some negative feedbacks also from the reviewer, right? For example, the keyboard does not have advanced gaming features like macro keys or programmable profile, right? And that's like an input for you, right? If you are somebody who's manufacturing this product, right, you can look at these details and see that, okay, this is one feedback that is coming from the customer. Let me go ahead and incorporate it, right? Now, remember, this is something that you do today also, right? But imagine the manual effort that you need. You would have to go into Amazon, you would have to read each of the 10,000 reviews that are in there, and then you would have to take a note of it that, okay, customer A is complaining about this thing, customer B is complaining about that thing, right? And all of that is very manual, right? You simply now hook it up to the OpenAI API, you make a call to the Amazon, you get all the reviews, you ask GPT to read those reviews and tell you the overall summary, right? Or you can further tweak it. You can tell me 5 different things where the customers are complaining about, right? And the whole idea is that you simply have to type those questions now, right? So if I tell me 5 things that the customer is complaining about, right? And you run this, you are getting the answer, right? Maybe now you say that, okay, 5 things are no good, right? Then you go ahead and say, tell me 10 things that the customer is complaining about, or tell me 10 things that the customer is happy about, right? So imagine you are getting all these answers just by writing some English queries, right? And behind the scene, GPT is populating all those information, it is getting all those details, and it is presenting a very crisp summary for you, right? You do not have to read any long text, right? And like I said, if your product has 10,000 reviews, 50,000 reviews, all of this can be done very quickly, and you can get overall summary, positive points, negative points, best things, most complained of things, all of those things. And imagine how much time it will save you, right? You can use that time to focus on improving that product versus having to spend 5 hours daily going through all the reviews, right? And that's why I said, guys, retail is one space where generative AI has tremendous potential, and that's why I wanted to talk to you about it, right? Lot of use cases that are in here are still being done with conventional AI. There are systems to do even this sentiment analysis also that we talked about. There are conventional AI systems to do it. But again, like I said, this is all text, right? And LLM really excels at it, right? You will get better results. You will get natural language conversational capability. You can go ahead and you can use it to generate new content for your marketing campaigns, for your social media posts, and we'll see about it in the next one. But all of this can bump up the retail operations. All of this can improve your supply chain. It can improve customer satisfaction, and it can drive huge benefits in the retail space, right? The possibilities of generative AI in retail is endless, right? There are a lot of avenues to touch on, lot of options to improve, modify, automate, and that's why I said I included retail in this particular video, so I can give you a glimpse of what those are, right? So okay, let's move on. Let's check out another industry topic in the next video. I'll